Hey everybody, today I am super excited because I have Ivan and Sasha here with me who have been students of Ryan and I for many, many years. And I'm really excited to have them here and chat with them and have them share some of their story and experiences with all of you. I think you'll all get a lot out of it. So without further ado, Ivan and Sasha, welcome and thank you so much for taking the time up.
Thank you, Daniel. It's good to be talking to you.
Yeah. And I want to start by just asking you, like, how, and really like the backstory, like, how did you get started, like with Amazon in the first place, and why? Like, was there anything going on in your life or any like reason that you really wanted to do this?
I think that's a very good question. Actually, here's what was going on. We both were working at our regular jobs. And we started thinking about how we want to gain more freedom, more independence. We wanted to make sure we were able to provide more, for the family, for the kids, and something that would continue providing for them, if anything happened to the job. At this point, we weren't really sure what we were looking at. So we started thinking, hey, let's look at some business ideas. Start reading some things. One of the things we read was Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, for example. And whatever you might want to say about the things he proposes, one thing that struck us that he proposed was the idea of cash flow quadrants, which basically split up into four, where if you were getting most of your cash as an employee somewhere, you were in the E quadrant. Then you could be self-employed, like a doctor, a lawyer, a plumber. Then you're really working for your own business, but you own it. And then if you're in the next quadrant, it's called the B quadrant, then you owned the business and you were actually making money from a system that you designed. And that system was working for you. You weren't working for that system. And there might be people working for you. Someone like, like a Bill Gates would definitely be more along that kind of a quadrant. He doesn't have to program Windows anymore. He has people to do that for him. And then the ultimate quadrant was the investor quadrant, where you invest money and that money works for you. And that's where our mentality started to change. So we started thinking that, all right, we want to get to the B quadrant first. We'll worry about the I quadrant later. But let's start getting cash flow from owning a business rather than just being an employee and getting a regular salary. I'm not saying our jobs were bad, anything like that. We enjoyed our jobs, what we were doing. But there was that security to it. Companies get bought and sold all the time. You're pretty much at the whim of the employer.
Yeah. How long ago was this? I'm just curious.
2014. It's 2018 now.
Okay, so about 4 years ago.
Yeah, 4 years ago. Yeah. So that's when we got started. And as we were reading about this, our mentality started to change. We realized there's just business opportunities pretty much anywhere you look. And the thing is, most people aren't trained to look for it. And they don't think to look for it. Most people just think about, how am I going to get the next promotion at my job, or how do I not make the boss mad, things like that. Instead, we started looking, okay, how could this be used to make money? How could that be used to make money? And we started looking through different ideas, ebooks, rental properties, websites that could be monetized, for different niches, different communities. And as we went through, we came across the physical products idea, and specifically selling on Amazon. There were other possibilities. There's eBay, but Amazon really seemed to hit something there. We liked the idea that it was kind of more passive. That was kind of getting us more towards being able to build a system that would work for us. And Amazon kind of allowed for that. So we researched a little bit online. And what we started to do is, as we were learning, we launched the first product. It had some success. We launched the second one pretty soon. But what happened was we kind of hit limited growth. We realized there was a lot of things we still didn't know. We had to try new things. We had to reinvent the wheels too many times over. And we knew that the knowledge was out there. People knew it. So we started looking. And at this point, we found Ryan and you, Daniel. And after we did a little research there, we joined your program, and we just learned a ton. I'd say thank you for that.
Awesome. So you were doing private label, right? Before you entered the program with us. Yeah.
Right, we were. It was private label that came from the research before entering your program.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, yeah, we launched the product. It was successful. It was making money. We launched the second product. That was making money too.
Mm-hmm.
But after a while, it's kind of like, well, where do you go from here?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sure, we can keep launching products, but there's more to it than that. There were things that were happening from different directions. Do we do this? Do we do that? We're kind of spread out, trying a little bit of everything. It was kind of like no focus, no system.
So that was one of the biggest issues, is like, just what do we focus on? What actually gets results?
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, we started the program. It was one of your early programs back then. And we learned essentially we learned what was important to do, what was important to focus on from you guys. How do we set up and operate a system for this business? What do we keep track of? It was a lot of things. I mean, there was how do you do the product research? How do you create a listing? Just these things that were very specific that we learned from you guys. Customer lists, something we were not doing on our own. And KPIs, key performance indicators, how to optimize ads, how to do sales funnels, A/B testing, just so much.
Great. And I guess we can take a little bit of time to kind of talk about the most impactful things that you experienced with, like, what would you say, let's start with just one thing, like what really had a big impact specifically that you didn't know before?
Well, I cannot overemphasize KPIs. I guess, both Sasha and I are of a computer background, so maybe we're a little bit more geared towards numbers. But KPIs, which are key performance indicators, we found it to be invaluable. It's great when you know how to source a product. All this is important. You have to be able to source a product. You have to know how to make a listing for it, photographs, everything. But what do you keep track of? What numbers? What numbers are important? What numbers are really not so important? How do you know if you actually if you have a healthy business? And that's what we learned. I mean, before this, we had no idea what a conversion was. What was the number of sessions? How many people looked at your product? We didn't know any of this. P&L, profit and loss, gross income, gross sales. What was all that? And we learned all this as a result of this business. In fact, if you don't mind, I'd like to give a little example without going into too many crazy details.
Sure.
So after we learned this, what we were finding is we were selling a good bit of product, but the profit just wasn't quite there. We were making money, but it wasn't as much as we kind of wanted to, and we weren't really understanding what was going on. Because I think it's a common mistake for people that start a physical products business, is they will know how much they bought the product for. They will know what the Amazon fees are if they're selling on Amazon. Probably know what they make after they make a sale. But then they will neglect or forget to keep track of, say, ad spending. They might forget to keep track of operational expenses. Maybe they're paying for some kind of tools or software to help them with their business, email autoresponders, for example. Things like that. And after we learned the KPIs, we were able to look at this, and we found, like, on several projects, we're like, oh my God, this. We're spending too much here. We're spending too much here. This isn't as effective as it could be. And it's only through looking at the numbers that we knew. And once we knew, the changes were extremely simple to make. Next thing you know, the product is making like 3-4 times what it used to be making in profit.
So yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, the power of numbers. And I think most Amazon sellers aren't aware of the numbers properly. But that's all the power. When you understand, like you say, exactly the numbers you have, then you know what to do. What really makes sense to do.
Yeah.
And what KPIs are the most important to you guys, like still today?
Well, we actually have an entire spreadsheet that we kind of keep. And basically what we do is on a regular basis, this is updated with the KPIs, which we'll break up per product. And now there are some KPIs that are more important. There are some KPIs that are less important, but they are all important. So some of the things we'll look at is, for example, sessions. How many people actually looked at the product? It's important. You have to know. conversions. Out of those people that looked, how many actually bought?
Mm-hmm.
So if 100 people looked and 10 people bought, that's a 10% conversion, which could probably be improved.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things that we look at. Profitability, of course. How much did you make from the product after all is said and done? Meaning not just how much it cost you to buy the product and what did you sell it for, but what fees did Amazon charge you? How much did you spend on advertising for that product? After all that's computed, how much did any product inserts cost? For example, if you make labels or you make like little inserts that you include in your product, how much did that cost? How much did shipping cost? So after all that is accounted for, how much money did you actually make? That's important.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of like a gross profit per product. Then of course you have to apply how much did you spend just on business operations that weren't product specific.
Mm-hmm.
And then the ultimate, which was the net profit or loss. Hugely important KPI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you have basically like a breakdown of all the numbers, right? And it ends with the net profit or loss.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. And if you don't mind, sure, go ahead, Sasha.
Yeah, another important piece that we learned was how to optimize the products, because I always thought we have a bunch of products and they're selling, but I feel like maybe they can sell more. Maybe there are ways to improve what we have. So we don't add new products, but we also make more out of what we already have, right? And it was always a very vague idea. So, but how do we do this? What can we make better and how do we make it better? And that's what we learned. All those different pieces that you can optimize and also how to optimize it properly, small piece by piece, how to split test it properly to actually get very good idea of what works better as opposed to just guess. Again, it came down to numbers, and that became very clear. So now we don't just add products. Now we optimize every product that we have to make the most out of it. That was another really important piece for me. Thank you.
Yeah. That's one of the keys, absolutely, because you're leaving so much on the table and you're really limiting your growth if you are not able to capitalize on what you already sourced. And I mean, that takes so much time, right? I'm curious, guys, like do you have kind of two different roles in the business, or are you doing everything together? I'm just curious because I'm always fascinated by partnerships. Like, what do you guys, each of you, focus on?
I guess I'll take that first, and Sasha, you can add. We are partnered in the sense that decisions are always made together and by consensus. I know not everyone does that. At the same time, we kind of have areas that we focus on. For example, Sasha is more towards, since he was a little more development oriented, like programming computers, he might be focused more on some of the technical aspects of the business. For example, we have our own website. That would be more something that Sasha would handle. I handle more of the money side, keeping track of the finances. And we split tasks up like that. What we do together, though, is something called sprints. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know if Sasha, if you want to get into how we do the sprints a little bit.
Yeah, so the whole idea. I mean, many people are very familiar with the sprints. We figured out how many sprint points we can do in one sprint. And we just figured out, basically it tells us how much work we can actually accomplish in one sprint. So now we have a good idea. And when we start a new sprint, which is usually 2 weeks, we look at our goals, strategic goals of where we want to develop our business. And we decide which action items we should be doing right now to get us to those goals. And we put them into the sprint and we assign the difficulty level to each of them, which is the story points, like 1, 2, 4, something like that. And when we look at those in the end, we can see whether that's too many of them, meaning that we cannot do that much work in a sprint. We just know that from experience. Or maybe we have some more space, so we can add some more items to that. And then we have a list of things that we actually going to do in this following sprint, and we split them up. And we just work over 2 weeks to get those done. Then when that's over, we look at what we did during the 2 weeks and make some conclusions. What we did good, well, or what we actually didn't do, what we failed to do, or other things that we learned during the sprint. So those are very often practical conclusions too, because it's not just, oh, well, we failed to do something, but it's usually translated into some action. Here's what we need to do to make this good thing happen more, or to make this bad happen not to happen again, That's what we do with the sprints.
Yeah, I think just want to maybe for your viewers who might not be as familiar with what a sprint is, let me try to give a quick explanation of what that is. Basically, think of a sprint as a period of time. In our case, we do 2 weeks, where we decide on a set of actions that we need to do, and these actions are all really geared to reach certain objectives. That we decide, okay, we want to reach this particular objectives. For example, this many sales of this new product. How do we do this? And we will determine certain actions to achieve that. And it doesn't just have to be one objective, it can be multiple objectives with multiple actions. And as Sasha said, we assign something called story points, which is basically a measure of how difficult an action is. So a really simple, quick action might be 1 story point. Something more complicated might be 2 or 3 or 4 story points. So that's basically what sprint is. Then we do them, and basically what Sasha said.
And this comes from software development, right? This approach. Yeah. And I'm honestly not sure if you guys figured this out kind of on your own, or if you heard it from us, because this is exactly the same thing we do in our office. It's the same exact methodology.
We know that you do the sprints too, but we haven't heard all those details from you guys.
Yeah.
We just know that you do it too. But the thing is that I am a developer, so we do that at work. And I adapted that method to what we do in the business, because it really keeps everything more manageable, and we know what we can do, what we cannot do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing that you're doing it this way, because this changes everything, right? When you start looking at it this way, and it fits perfectly with the numbers, the KPIs, the optimization, right?
Right, I agree, because before we were doing it, again, we were just spread out all over the place. It was along the lines of, hey, let's try this. Hey, let's try that. Oh, let's try this. And then you kind of end up starting a bunch of different things, finishing only a few of them, and you have no idea what results you even got from them. Mm-hmm. It was just crazy. That's not how you run a business.
Yeah. But that's how most people kind of run it. I mean, honestly, because most people don't have the background that you guys have to figure this out.
Right. That actually brings me to something I kind of want to say, because that's absolutely true, Daniel. You're absolutely right. Most people don't have that background. Mm-hmm. And but this comes back to that change in our thinking that I was mentioning earlier, where I was saying, well, we learn to look for opportunities. We also learn to look for knowledge, versus just education, because anyone can go and get an education, a degree, a diploma. How much knowledge did you gain out of it? That's the key. You can gain knowledge in a lot of different places, anywhere. Mm-hmm. You have to look. You can look up how to do sprints pretty easily online. There will be a number of resources that will teach you how to do it. You don't have to be a computer developer to do it. Now, the whole thing is maybe you have to hear about it, but if you kind of keep an open mind, and when you hear things or just come across things, always think, like, how can this help me in my business? That's kind of how we were thinking. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if it's at work, if it's outside of work, anywhere. You come across something, you see something that you think, hey, this is going to help me in my business. Well, maybe take the time to learn about it. If you ultimately decide it doesn't help you, hey, at least you learned something. Mm-hmm. If it helps you, well, great.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Another thing that we learned recently, and Ivan, do you remember that idea from Seth Godin that us to this? Do you remember what exactly he said?
Was that about the strategic goals?
Yes.
I'm trying to remember what exactly he said, how it was phrased. You'd have to maybe find that link. But basically, it boiled down to the fact that you really need to have a strategic goal. I don't know, Sasha. While I'm talking, if you can find that little quote, it was a really good quote. But this was something that we realized after we started making money, applying the system, everything we learned from you guys. Mm-hmm. But we needed a further out goal. Mm-hmm. How do we continue to grow, and what exactly are we actually trying to achieve with this? Now, the simple answer, obviously, is profit. What's the point of a business if you're not making profit? But you kind of need to define that a little bit better. How much profit? From where do you anticipate to get that profit? So what we started doing is we started defining strategic goals, long-term and short-term goals. And then we started breaking it down into smaller tactical goals and specific action items on how to reach any given tactical goal, which then get incorporated into the sprints. And I don't know if Sasha was able to find that particular quote, but basically what it boiled down to is that you need to have a strategic direction, otherwise you just kind of floating.
Yeah. You need to be working towards a specific goal, objective at all times, and then measure that with your numbers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Why I remember that is that we were doing the sprints before, but I noticed that we have a long list of things that we want to do. We think that may be helpful and useful, but it's kind of just a big list of things that doesn't have any system to it, and we were just trying to pick things that we think would be good instead of having some systematic idea of what exactly we are doing and what we are trying to achieve. And after that breakthrough, we decided, wait a second, let's just split up this into the actual goals for the business and just some goals, but very measurable goals. Like we want to make profit, not just make sales or get a certain number of visitors or whatever. So we came up with this structure. We broke the business into a few pillars that we call that support the business, and each of them is responsible for different parts of it. Like one is for Amazon, another one is for other sales online, third one is for physical stores. We actually are trying to dive into local stores and try to work with them and sell there. So we came up with this very clear structure, and each of those pillars has its own goal, and it's measurable. It's profit that we're trying to achieve. So now everything that we do has to fit into those. And if it doesn't fit, why are we doing it? We should be spending time that is not bringing us anything that goes towards the goal. So I think that was one of our latest breakthroughs. And now the sprints are a lot clearer because now we know exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it, and we don't do other things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
This I don't want to go off on a tangent, but just something Sasha said kind of brought this little point to mind, which was the whole measurable profit. I just wanted to emphasize that because some people will chase sales, or they'll chase bestseller ranks, or they will say, "I sold 1,000 products this month. Look how awesome I'm doing." I once talked to somebody who was also doing an Amazon business. Yeah, he's not a student of you guys. He said something like, "Oh, we're selling 30,000 per month. We're getting 30,000 per month from Amazon." Well, after a couple of drinks, I asked him, "Well, what exactly is your profit? How much did you actually make last month?" "Oh, $900."
Yeah.
And I had to laugh. I'm like, "Dude, you need to drink more than I do."
Yeah.
That just wasn't a good profit. And we started talking, and he kind of told me a little bit more. And I think he was making a lot of these common mistakes. He was chasing things that really he shouldn't have been chasing. He didn't have a strategic direction. I just want to sell more, sell more, sell more. That's not a strategy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is profit, right? So that's what you have to optimize.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks guys so much for sharing that. That's extremely valuable information and insights. It's funny because it's exactly the same line of thinking that I've had for many years now, and we've really incorporated into our teams. And it's something very few Amazon sellers do and understand. So these are really great insights for people listening to this, I think, because this really is the key to get into this kind of thinking and operating your business this way, like in a scientific way. I always look at it that way. It's like a scientific way of running your business versus, just kind of random. So yeah, thanks so much for that. And I guess, to kind of expand on this. So that obviously the KPIs and stuff that you discovered when you kind of joined our program brought you guys into this, and then you were able to expand on it with what you already knew, right, from your jobs and things like that. I guess, is there anything else that really made a big impact?
There's just so much, but certainly let's see. I'm just trying to think of something that would be particularly useful to the audience here.
Yeah. I can say, like, everything you do ties into this approach, right? Everything ties into the sprints and the KPIs. So it's kind
Yeah,
of everything is in there, right?
yeah. And the thing is, I mean, we learned so much of this stuff from you guys. I just don't remember exactly what we came up with ourselves, but I think a lot of it we did. Like the KPIs, we definitely got from you, the specific ones.
Mhm.
Building a brand. How about this?
Yeah.
And this is something we weren't really thinking about when we started, but we definitely learned it from joining your guys' program. When you're
Mhm.
talking about let's build a brand, you're not just gonna pick a product launch. What you want to do is pick a product that'll grow in a particular brand,
Mhm.
where that brand will start having some kind of presence,
Yeah.
and that'll actually get you more legitimacy. You might be able to sell more premium products as a result, get a better profit margin. That's one of the things we learned from you guys, and I think that was huge, because I see Amazon sellers on there, even private label, who sell things that just don't even tie into each other.
Mhm.
You might see someone selling, I don't know, makeup sponges next to a kitchen shelf. It's like,
Mhm.
really?
Yeah.
Uh, seriously, what kind of a product is that? They're both maybe great product ideas, but
Mhm.
I don't see how they go together. That's not much of a brand.
Yeah, you're missing out on the potential of building the brand. So you guys, do you have like an exit strategy in mind with your business, or what is like your end game? Do you have that? Because some people just want to run the business and have it, right? Some people want to build something and sell it.
I think, I mean, my personal end game would be to pass it on to the kids. That doesn't
Mm.
mean we won't necessarily sell it if the time and the opportunity seems right, and then maybe invest in something else.
Hmm.
But also, if the brand grows, there's no reason not to have it be a family business, have it become a holding.
Yeah.
Multiple brands. There's no
Hmm.
reason not to do that.
Hmm.
I think that's something that would basically ensure the future for our families. I think a lot of people could do this.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a huge brand. You don't have to be the next Facebook.
Hmm.
You don't
Yeah,
have to be
because
the next.
Amazon is so huge, it doesn't take much to get a nice chunk, that serves you
Yeah,
well.
yeah. I mean, 1% of a million is still halfway decent.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I ask you, like, do you have one brand now or more, and how many products roughly?
We have um, we have one main brand. We're actually launching a related, but a separate brand. They are, however, related. They're kind of under one umbrella, if you will.
Hmm.
Let's see. Separate products. We have several. Was about uh, getting close to 30, isn't it? Yeah, 25, I believe. Yeah, and we're actually planning to launch the next 7.
Hmm.
So it'll be it snowballs. You see, it might sound like, oh, 30 products. That's not a brand, but there are 30 consistent products in a consistent niche with a consistent brand name.
Hmm.
And sure, at first, when you're first starting out, you don't have a lot of money. Yeah, you can only launch maybe one product at a time, 2 products at a time. Now we're launching 7 at a time.
Yeah.
Next, we'll launch even more than that, 10, I don't know,
Hmm.
12.
It's
And
fantastic.
it'll snowball. It'll go from small to kind of big, 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 and it'll grow, become bigger.
It's not just that. What's interesting, what has been changing for us gradually, that we were just looking first for profitable ideas of what products to develop and sell.
Hmm.
And eventually we came to the idea, what if we actually just try to take over a niche and become a known brand, a known name in that niche? And that seems to pay high dividends, which we didn't realize initially that would happen, because right now, everyone doing this kind of business, they learn that, for example, reviews are very important on Amazon. Right now it's
Hmm.
become very difficult to get the reviews on a new product. So I remember when we would launch a new product and we don't have any reviews, it's very difficult to start selling it, because people don't trust it, right? There's no
Hmm.
reviews, nobody knows us, and we're just standing still. And now we launch a new product, and we are just barely starting to promote it or think how to promote it, and suddenly we see that it sells by itself, no reviews, nothing. And it all comes down to people writing us messages like, you guys create such great products that when I need something like this, I know where to go to. I'm just going to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy to imagine that. I never thought it would develop to that high that level of visibility in the niche, but we are actually known to people who value high quality products in this category. Now it's becoming easy to launch new products, even though they're new. I know they're gonna sell just because people know us already. So that's why right now we don't think of, is this product very profitable, or maybe we shouldn't be doing it. We are just adding more products to cover the niche completely, so that we become a big name in the niche, and people really know us, and they go, we are just becoming go-to in this category. So that's why.
Now that said, we're not making unprofitable products. It's just that it doesn't have to be, not every product has to be a home run anymore. We want to, as Sasha said, become the go-to resource.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to expand the brand because that creates value and that makes the whole thing more successful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's really fantastic. And it just goes to show like what you've been able to build out, that you're able to launch these many products at once now. Do you have any employees, or do you have any like systems to help you scale?
We had assistants, but so far they're not full-time employees. Mm-hmm. Mostly outsourced. So, for example, when we were building our own store, our own web store, even though Sasha knows actually how to do that, mm-hmm. He could program it, but there's still aspects of design, that kind of thing. So we actually hired someone to do that. Mm-hmm. So that was like a good example. So yeah, and we also had someone working for us who was helping us keep track of the KPIs, updating. We basically wrote out the procedure, mm-hmm. and the procedures gave you a step-by-step. Yeah, it doesn't have to be someone who has a master's degree from college. Mm-hmm. Basically, someone who can read and follow directions pretty well, mm-hmm. and that saves us a lot of time. I'm no longer going through every product and trying to collect every KPI and stick it into a spreadsheet. We have someone doing that, for example. Mm-hmm. I'll give you kind of, since I mentioned the website, I will say that the brand name again worked for us there. We got the website up, we launched it. Didn't do a single ad yet. Literally the next day, we already got visitors, and we even got like some corporate clients out of it. Mm. Some who said like, well, we need something customized, but we're gonna order more of it. Mm. Why not? Sure.
Mm. That's fantastic. So you've been able to reach other kinds of customers as well through the website.
Yeah. But I've even had instances of just accidentally seeing our product out there in the world in real life.
Nice.
My daughter ran across one, and she looked and she's like, "Oh my God, is that you? Hey, Dad."
Yeah, that's a good feeling, right?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I was in New York City and I saw someone using our product, mm-hmm. and I'm like, "Wow, really cool."
Yeah, those are the best moments because you feel really proud. I mean, it's something you've created and it's real, and people are buying it and using it.
Yeah. And you think 2014, 4 years ago, we were nothing. Mm-hmm. Like, no one ever heard of us. We've never done anything. We didn't even have anything. Mm-hmm. 4 years later, here we are. Mm-hmm. When we first started working with you guys, I remember sending you some numbers, but remember how like even after just a month of going through your program, we were able to tweak things. As I recall, our profits, I believe, doubled. Mm-hmm. I think it was like 2.5 times to be exact.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I don't have those numbers in front of me anymore, and we're just continuing to grow.
Mm-hmm. And I think you guys deserve a lot of praise as well, because you have been able to stick with this and focus on this and continue to grow it, right? So continue to expand, and even if there's ups and downs, right? I'll ask you kind of maybe what have been like the biggest obstacles, but you've been able to stick to it and continue to overcome the obstacles and continue to build this up, and over time, obviously, the effects compound, right? So that's why things grow like this, and that's what's going to happen when you stick to something over time.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's always a perfect curve. Sometimes it'll kind of bounce up and down, but then eventually grow. We had obstacles like we had competition coming in. They were way underpricing us. Things like that happen. Except, well, how long can you continue selling a product really cheaply if you're losing money? Well, not that long. So after a while, it kind of faded away and faded into the background because you can't maintain it. At the same time, while we are going by the numbers, we are certain, because of the approach we learned from you guys, that this will work. We will weather the storm. Not like it was a huge storm, but it was just another obstacle to worry about. And yeah, we did have a conversation about it, me and Sasha. Like, oh, what's going on? Well, is this going to be a problem? Maybe no, it's not. Well, no, let's stick to the system. We know the system works. It's if anything, we'll ask Ryan and Daniel. They'll definitely tell us, and let's just keep going. Let's just focus and focus again. This is very important. Don't lose your focus. Because if you start losing your focus, you start going, oh my God, oh, I got this and this and this. Forget it. That's it. You lose. You have to focus. You focus on the end goal. You have to focus on following the system. Once you lose the focus, you lose. Absolutely.
And it really helps to have a system like you guys have with the sprints. And is it Scrum, by the way?
Yes. Yes, Scrum. Yes. Yeah. Yes, that's what we call it. Yeah, it was Scrum every day. Basically, again, for people that don't know it, it's Scrum is when every day we will look at the sprint and we will review what actions are being done and if there are any blockers. Blockers meaning any obstacles that might prevent the action from being done. And there's always something that comes up. Can't think of an offhand example, but there'll always be something.
Yeah, because that's kind of the process of business, right? It's solving problems over and over again. But I think this system is so great at like putting it all together. So you're always doing like looking at the right things and working on the right things. And it helps keep your focus. Obviously, a part of it is a mind game, right? Believing and things like that. But then this system keeps you still like in tune with everything that's going on at all times.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Have you had any like major obstacles that almost made you give up, or have you been to that point at any point in the process?
Sasha, can you think of anything really bad that made us give up, or almost?
We were very upset about the competition when more and more competition came in, and it was we keep growing, we keep doing stuff, but we are just in a plateau. We are not making more. Sometimes we make less, and it just was a little depressing. But I don't think we ever came to a point where maybe this is not going to work. Maybe we should just stop. It was never like that, because we knew it's working, and we always believed it's a matter of figuring out what to do about it, how to do it right. It's not about whether this is going to work or not. We just need to find a way to make it work smart, not just try to work hard, but try to work smart.
Yeah.
All right. And rather than asking the question of, oh my God, what can't we do? We asked ourselves, well, what can we do? Okay, maybe we can't do this, and maybe we can't do that. Maybe we don't have a crazy amount of money in the bank, so we can't out-advertise the competition, for example, or we can't, undersell them. Okay, fine. What can we do? Well, we can do this, and we decided it, and then we stick to it, and then we do it, and we see if the results match up. We might adjust the action if the results aren't quite what we want. But I wouldn't say we ever got to the point of giving up. Certainly, at one point, a lot of competition came in. But if you follow the system, there's just so much untapped opportunity out there, I think. Amazon, I've heard this said, oh, Amazon is oversaturated. No, it's not. There's still a ton of opportunity out there. And I see Amazon as a launching pad for us. It's not the end all and be all. You don't have to stay exclusively with Amazon, but it's a great launch platform.
Absolutely. And Amazon will never remain static. The products are always evolving. There's always new opportunities, more volume even. I mean, it's all about understanding what you're doing and seeing, clearly, like seeing what is a good opportunity, what's not. I think that's the skill set that really, makes you a winner long-term versus someone that gets confused and gives up.
Right. Yeah, completely. Because the recognizing the opportunities is very important. Because if you don't recognize the opportunity properly, you might end up getting into a product that, for example, just won't sell, or is just maybe so, I don't know, I wouldn't say niche specific, but just like such a narrow audience that might only get you 1 or 2 sales a month. Well, what's the point?
Yeah.
On the other hand, there are some products that will just sell a ton and still get you a pretty decent profit. Well, why wouldn't you do those? And they're not oversaturated. There's millions of products on Amazon, literally.
Yeah, and it changes everything once you start to see it this way, because now your eyes are open and you're looking for positive things that you can do instead of looking for problems.
Right, exactly. Don't look for problems. The problems will find you.
Yeah,
You just
that's
have
right.
to know what to do about them.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we also learned quite a bit from you guys. I mean, we had a number of times when we talked to you and we'd say, oh, hey, we have this problem and this problem. What can we do with it?
Mm-hmm.
We're thinking this and this. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really have to say that I really, really love the approach both of you have, because it's so rare, but it's so powerful. It's like it's more scientific, realistic approach to things, and it's not. I mean, it's pretty uncommon, but it's something that we really share. Like I share, and I have a lot of connection with you guys because of that. And yeah, I want to say again, thanks for really taking the time to share this with people. I think people are really enjoy it, and I think this has been really, really valuable, and I think it will open the eyes for a lot of people in terms of like how you can approach this business. You don't have to look at it like like you're just in a random situation, that it's a game of luck and chance. It's actually something you can be very specific and detailed with, and just run it constantly in a scientific manner where you're always getting better and better at what you're doing, and you know more and more what actually works.
Right, exactly, and that's the thing. I think you just made a very valid point. It's not gambling. It's systematic. It's not even trying to guess the direction of the stock market, which has, of course, its own system. That's not gambling entirely either, if you're smart about it. But here, I mean, let's just say you're making, I don't know, I'm just going to pull a number out of thin air. Let's just say you're making a 10% profit every month on the amount invested. Well, that's pretty good. You're not making 10% per year. You're making 10% every month. What if you're compounding it every month? What are you making now?
Exactly.
Now you're making quite a bit.
Definitely better than the stock market.
Yeah, that would be a lot better than the stock market. I mean, make it simple. Imagine you can give me $100 in January. I'm going to give you 110 at the end of the month. I mean, if we play the game like that, would you play it? I mean, I would. But then I say, hey, in February, let's do the same thing. Give me 100 and I'll give you another 10, another 110. If you keep doing that, March, same thing. I'll give you another 110 as long as you give me 100 at the beginning of the month. Well, how much do you have if it's like if every month I give you exactly $10 and all you keep giving me is just that 100? Now you still keep your original 100 at the end of the year and you have, what, 10 times 12, 120? So yeah. What percent return is that? Pretty good, right?
Yeah, this is one of the big like mind hacks, mindset hacks with this business model. Is you look at it as investments, like you're basically creating these investments or these assets, right, for yourself that pay dividends over time, and that changes everything when you look at it that way. You're not looking necessarily for like a 200% return within a few months. It's just, I mean, no one can realistically expect that over and over again long term with anything really. Like that's just, it's very hard, right? But getting a 10%, 20% return on your money over time in business is also, like a big deal. But with this business model, you can realistically achieve that. And that's the really powerful thing.
Yeah, because of scale, you scale it. Yeah, it's like, it's easy to say $100 and you get 10% back. What happens when you scale? What happens when you invest 200, 300, 400? For every product, think of that as an investment. It's also it's also an asset that generates income for you. Why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah, exactly. So I want to really ask you guys, like, before we close, I know we've been on here for a while. I don't want to keep you too long, but how has this, so like on a personal note, how has this business impacted your lives or you guys personally?
Sasha, you want to go first?
Well, we are far from where we wanted to be initially and where we still want to be in terms of making a certain amount of profit, and we're not there yet, but we have learned so much. It's like, we've hit the plateau a few times, but we realized that very often it was because we didn't know something. Because we know some things, but not the complete picture is clear. And once we learn those critical pieces, now it becomes a breakthrough and now we know what to do and we go to the next stage and it's working. And we're not there yet, but I see that it's working and I know that we just need to focus and stay at it, and that's it. But not just stay at it and do something, but be very systematic about here's the goal, here's what we need to do to reach that goal, do this. Don't try to run around and do a bunch of different things. We were just talking about this today. Sometimes we both come up, or we read about something, we see the new opportunities somewhere because we read about it, or we look at something and we see a new opportunity. And I am susceptible to this shiny thing disease. When I see something new and shiny and say, oh, that's so cool, I think that would be so good to do this, and that would be interesting, and it would bring profit and everything. But then I know that we shouldn't just start running in all directions, trying different things. So sometimes we discuss the idea just to brainstorm it, like kind of like an exercise in thinking about a business idea, but then we just shelve it. We have a special list of different ideas where we record things, but we know, no, right now we're just focusing on this, because otherwise it's not going to work. We just need to stay at it and keep going systematically. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons that I learned, because we did try doing different things, maybe not different businesses, but even inside this business, we just went in so many directions, tried this and tried that, and we didn't see any result, because we were not trying to accomplish any one goal in a very systematic way.
Exactly.
But I know that if we just keep the goal in mind and break that down into the actions that will get us there, we'll just keep doing those actions, and sooner or later we'll get there.
Fantastic.
And I will add for my own side, maybe a little more of a personal, a little less away from the business, because you asked how does this impact us personally. I'll give you an example. So when I was a teenager, I would be, I was working as a cashier, and occasionally you would see these high-end cars come into the parking lot, especially when you're a teenage guy. They send you out to collect the shopping carts. So you're out there and you're checking out these cars. And occasionally you'd see really nice ones. You'd see exotic cars, Ferraris, Lamborghinis. I mean, yeah, not very often. They are exotics. I don't live in Beverly Hills or anything like that. But yeah, on occasion, a couple of times a year, you might see them and you go like, wow, I'll never be able to afford that. That's just not possible. And these are like $100,000, $200,000 cars. So that was basically my mentality for a long time. So last weekend, I believe, I took my kids, no, the previous weekend, I took my kids to a car show. I have a daughter and a son. My son really is into cars, and my daughter doesn't mind. And they ran in there, and they're checking out all these cool cars, and it just has a whole different range of cars, from antiques to these exotics to, nice BMWs, Tesla cars, that kind of stuff. So my son jumps into a Tesla, and he's like, Dad, I want this, Dad, I want this. And the salesman comes up to me. And I know that these Teslas are pretty expensive. This is one of the more expensive models. And he's like, oh, so what do you think of this car? And I'm like, yeah, it's cool. And I'm like, I don't know, like, how much would something like that even cost? And he tells me. And I'm like, oh, my God. I could actually, in theory, afford something like that. Like, realistically, not afford as in cut every single possible personal expense and afford it. Like, realistically, I could actually afford that. The cars I have now, actually the last car payment is this month. Between that, I could easily afford that now. Definitely huge personal change. So from going, or the Ferrari that was like right in the booth next door, wasn't one of the super high-end ones, it was still a Ferrari. Looked really nice. It was maybe a little more expensive than Tesla, but again, I was looking at it, and the guy said how much it cost, and I'm like, oh my God, this is within reach, reasonably, realistically within reach. Maybe not something I would go out and buy right now, but just as a personal thing, like where you go from this, teenager looking and going, oh my God, I'll never have this, to, wow, I could actually get this.
Wow, that's fantastic. That really actually is touching to hear, because, that's the transition that's happening. Like now you're able to do something that you've dreamt of doing, and you didn't think was even realistic, but now it's definitely realistic. And then I'm sure in 4 years from now, it will be even more realistic, and maybe it'll be like, of course, it's easy,
yeah. My daughter picked out a McLaren with pink trim.
Yeah.
I told her make your own money.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful. I mean, that's just, that's what I really get a lot out of hearing, from people like you guys. It's like the personal aspect that's changing. So I guess, before we wrap up, you're giving a lot of advice, but is there anything that you want to leave people with that are watching this video?
I think I would say don't lose your focus. Don't get distracted by irrelevant things. And very importantly, believe in yourself, believe in the system that you're following. Don't listen to the naysayers. Please don't listen to the naysayers. You will have people who will say, what are you doing? You're crazy. Don't do this. Why are you starting a business? Just go focus on your job. Mm-hmm. It'll even be your close friends and maybe close family. I'll be honest, my wife said that to me. Mm-hmm. She doesn't say that anymore. Mm-hmm. So by all means, be nice to these people, but ignore them. Like, know what you're focused on, know what you're going for, go for it, do it, believe in the system, believe in what Ryan and Daniel have taught you, and just execute on it. The opportunity is there. It's there for the taking. Just take it. There's no reason. You deserve it. You should have it. That's what I would like to leave people with.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
One more piece of practical advice. A lot of people assume that education means after school you go to college and you get a diploma, so you spend 4 years or whatever amount of time and amount of money on that, and that should get you somewhere. I have had a change of mind over the last few years, and I believe that that is not necessarily the right thing for everyone to do. For some people it may be, but you should have a very clear picture of what your goal is. And that might dictate very different kind of education that you need, because the world has changed and you can do so many things, but they require different education. And it might be a huge waste of time and money to go to college and to learn something that is not going to be right for you. It might be right for you. It depends on what you want to do. But if you want to be open-minded and look at the world and see all the opportunities, the business that are there, I believe it's very different kind of education that a person would need for that. It might take a lot less time and a lot less money to get that. And it might be a lot more useful and profitable and efficient to do that. And we've been talking with Ivan about our kids, that we are trying to very carefully instill that idea in their minds too, that they shouldn't just assume, go to college and go that way. Think about what you want to do and think what education will get you there.
That's fantastic. That's very well put, because people talk about it, but this is, I think, the right way to think about it. Is like, for some people it might be right, but if you want to, let's say, start a business, going to college or university might be a complete waste of time and money, right?
Yeah, exactly. It may or may not be. Again, I mean, even if you want to start a business, we're not saying don't go to college. Forget it. It's but it's acquire knowledge, get educated. Yeah. And there are just, what we're saying is there's just many ways of getting an education. College is just one of them. But there's plenty of opportunities.
Yeah. And I'd like to think that, like, the education you received from Ryan and I, for example, has been more valuable than a lot of the things you would have learned at college or university.
Honestly, I wish I had learned this when I was in college.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying that the knowledge I acquired in college was worthless, but frankly, this would have been a lot more useful.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I love it, guys. You have a fantastic story, and again, thanks so much for sharing it with everyone. I know people watching this will really appreciate it as much as I do. So, thanks, guys.
Oh, thank you for having us.
And best of luck moving forward. Hopefully, we can do another one like this in 2 years or something, and hear.
I would love to give you an update.
Awesome.